Okay, good evening. Thank you for coming to the September 11th meeting of the Parks and Community Services Commission. I call the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. and we will start, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Dorn Parker.
Thank you. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Fatua, the roll call, please.
Let the record reflect, sorry, let me start over. Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
Here.
Commissioner Ledger.
Here.
Commissioner Kamala. Here. Commissioner Dorn Parker.
Here.
Chair Brown.
Here.
The following are absent: Vice Chair Wright and Commissioner Houston.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'd like to open up for public comments for matters not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone in the council chambers who would like to make a comment? Welcome.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As you probably are all aware, the Fairview Park Master Plan is nearing completion in that revision process. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Matt Garcia. I'm a resident of Costa Mesa. I'm also the HSS president, Harbor Soaring Society. We fly gliders over at Fairview Park. And as I was mentioning, the Fairview Park Master Plan revision is coming to a conclusion and will be possibly coming to you guys for comment. We would like to invite you, HSS would like to invite you out to Fairview Park on September 20th, our next flight day, to see the activity. If you're not able to make it on September 20th, then please reach out to us. My email is, staff has my email, but it's mgarcia@onehss.org. And we're happy to walk the park and talk about HSS and the activity with you and answer any questions. Thank you. I know some of you have been out there, so I appreciate the visits. And I've spoken with some of you on the activity in the past, but happy to answer any current questions, and feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Seeing no other public comments in the chambers, is there anyone online who would like to make a public comment?
At this time, there are no members.
Okay, thank you. Now it is the opportunity to do commissioner comments and suggestions. Why don't we start with Commissioner Dorn Parker?
Okay, thank you. My comments today are going to gear towards our director and his team. Many of you know, some don't know, that I'm on the SOY board, Save Our Youth, to support our students on the west side, to provide not only just a safe spot, but tutoring and enrichment. But we raise money. And so one of the ideas was to restore a pickleball mixer to the tennis center. And I have to just give huge kudos to all the staff. They jumped on it. We now went through Tessa, especially Kathia, who has been in touch with me. It turned out some of the two of the main underwriting sponsors had to pull out, so we're not going to do the pickleball mixer this year, but we were looking to do it next year. But I just need to say the professionalism, the timeliness, and all the information was just phenomenal. I have such faith in the staff and how they handle facilities, but also answer questions. We were thinking of also having the ability not just to taco bar, but margaritas, and that involved another layer, and the staff was phenomenal. So and also the city manager. So I just want to say kudos, and that's what I'm going to say today.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Kamala.
Just a couple things. This Saturday, September 13th, 8 to 12, is California Biodiversity Day at Fairview Park. We'll have guided discovery tours from 9 to 11:30. There's an iNaturalist challenge where you can go with the iNatural app, grab some pics of birds, insects, all the flowers out there, and submit it. There's also self-guided tours if you guys can't make that time. Plug for the Arts Commission. Art Venture is also coming up September 13th, near and dear to me. I remember the first one. So that's September 13th, I think 11 to 3 at the Norma Herzog Center, right? And then September 20th is at OCMA. I don't have the time for that. And like Matt said earlier, I definitely encourage you guys to spend time and go see him and his club fly out there. It's pretty cool. My boys love the planes. I kept on having to tell them not to touch it, but super cool what they do out there. So if you get a chance, talk to Matt and spend some time with them out there.
Thank you. Commissioner Ledger.
I don't have much to say today. Just wanted to acknowledge the date today is September 11th, and just wanted to make sure that was acknowledged. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for making it out today. I do want to give a shout out to the Western Chapter International Society of Arboriculture. We will be hosting our 92nd anniversary in Yosemite, and I will, as the board, will be checking that out next October 9th and 10th, so I won't be able to make it to the next meeting, but I'll follow up with staff, and I encourage staff to maybe encourage other individuals to like get into some of those courses and classes that we'll be having for those events. It's going to be for later next year. So I will follow up with staff for that. But it's exciting. I will be running the Spanish division of the Western chapter, and that's encouraging because a lot of fatalities are happening to Spanish speakers because of the lack of education and information and safety. So I encourage, if you see a gardener or anybody, I encourage you guys to tell them to wear their eye protection, safety glasses, and be tied in at all times. With chainsaws, you got to be tied in twice. Anyways, that's one. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to staff, especially Rob Ryan, for answering questions and concerns that I had about some trees. They're really on top of things, and I'm really excited to see those trees come back to life, and seeing what else we can do as commissioners to encourage other community leaders to, just communicate some things that are going on in our city that could potentially need to be addressed. And then also Bright Youth is a nonprofit organization that is doing a lot of great things. Right now they're doing some work in Shalimar to encourage the youth to do programming. And so, I think I just wanted to mention Bright Youth just to kind of plant that seed. If you guys hear about them, they've done a lot of great things and will continue to do so. So, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And actually let the record show that Vice Chair Wright joined the meeting. Vice Chair Wright?
Yes, hello. Apologies for my delay. I tried my best. I think for today, I just want to acknowledge and let everybody know, like, an update from our last meeting. So, Chair Brown and I, we made a big deal about wanting to see the Fairview Park Master Plan draft at our commission. And we promptly, and I'm gratefully, received feedback from council that they valued that and were supportive of that. And so her and I did sort of a like summary memo for the first time of our commission meeting and submitted it to council. But I want to say even before that meeting, we had our like monthly meeting with the director and some of the department staff, where I feel like we were able to talk through a little bit more why it wasn't sort of automatically set onto our agenda, and how basically like the default protocol is that it would have gone directly to city council. And so I feel like we're still just sort of figuring out like what are the default expectations versus what we want to be involved in and what makes sense with even what city council wants, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important. So I'm really glad that we were able to have more of a conversation about how we got there, why there was maybe any like misaligned expectations. I think the memo was great. I totally forgot to submit it for public record for this meeting, so I wanted you guys all to read it, but you don't have it, so I'm sorry. It was in the city council public comment agenda, but all that to say, I believe that it is set for us to see it in October, and all the stars have aligned timing-wise for that to work out as far as like the 30-day public notice and getting it in time back for city council. And so everybody better read it, because we made a big fuss about getting it, and it's going to be awesome. We put a lot of money into it, and I can't wait to see it. And thank you for coming to speak on it, because this is a huge deal. And, you know, these only come once every 5 to 10 years or some crazy number like that. So I wanted to touch on that. And then I also wanted to share, in case anyone didn't know, so I live in Eastside Costa Mesa. We recently have had Arlene Schaefer step down from the Costa Mesa Sanitary District, District 5. There's still a year and a half left on her term, and I applied for the vacancy and I got the job. So I was just appointed to the Sanitary District Board. And I've had one meeting so far. And I think one of the things I'm really excited about is just for that like cross-functional collaboration between our special districts and the city. And so I'm looking forward to that and all that's to come and all the projects and how they all overlap. Not necessarily as it pertains to parks, but just as far as keeping everyone in the loop on all the multiple different departments our city has. So yeah, I look forward to serving in a different capacity, and looking forward to our meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to start by offering my congratulations for that new role. Really exciting. It's been fun to watch from afar, and wish you the best. Also wanted to follow up on the memo, and so next time we'll be sure to submit it so that you all can read a draft of it, though it is attached to the previous city council meeting. This is just something that Vice Chair Wright and I have been talking about for many months as a way of staying in touch with city council. So it's not on behalf of the commission, it's on behalf of myself and the vice chair, but I certainly welcome any feedback. When you have a chance to read that, please reach out to me, reach out to the vice chair. We're working on process quite a bit, and so we see that as an important way of opening up some dialogue between city council and our commission. The last thing that I wanted to share is actually an event, and I just want to acknowledge there are so many great city events going on in the next couple of months. It's a little overwhelming, and I have another one to put on top of everything. But there is, it's called the Earthrise Climate Action Festival. It's a day-long festival that takes place at Harbor Christian Church. It's a festival that is born from a university community partnership. So I'm involved from the university side, but there are tribal organizations involved, a lot of environmental justice organizations involved, a lot of environmental organizations, many universities involved, and we're putting on a festival, and it includes art and music and dance and food trucks, talks, beekeeping, all around the climate. So it takes place, let me do the important details, on October 11th. And the festival activities take place from around 11 to 4:30. So you could show up and get some typewriter poetry if you wanted, like on demand. And then there's an evening program that's from 5 to 8. We will have free tacos and free desserts. And you can join us for a conversation that night that's called Prophetic Futures. And it's around the environment, community, and faith, actually. And as somebody who is not religious, I will say this is very much an interfaith event that involves a lot of scientists and a lot of others. So it's kind of a weird thing that we have going on, but it involves many different parts of Orange County coming together really around the issue of climate. So I welcome you to come. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
I have a quick question. Location.
Harbor Christian Church. It's at the church.
It's actually the church. Okay.
It's actually at the church. Harbor Christian is one of our partners with the university, and so they have offered to host it. They have a very large campus right across from the Back Bay. There will be guided tours of the Back Bay, all sorts of stuff. You're going to do wreath making, Nopalis making, like all sorts of interesting things. So, okay. If there aren't any other commissioner comments and suggestions, I would like to move to the consent calendar. And I am actually going to pull the minutes. I would like to discuss the minutes after we receive and file the department report. So I'm going to make a motion to receive and file the department report. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
You may vote on your dais. Motion carries 6-0 to approve the department.
Thank you. I pulled the minutes because as I was reading them, I felt like there was a bit more to be shared in the minutes, which for me is an important public document. It's something that can stand the test of time, or at least stand for a while. I felt like there needed to be more represented around our conversation on Fairview Park. So I would actually like staff to go back to our recording and try to make that description a little bit more robust and bring it back to us at the next meeting. Do we need to vote on that, or is? Yeah, okay. So I would make a motion that staff go and revisit the recording so that the description around the conversation we had around Fairview Park, some of our questions, concerns, especially around process, is a bit better reflected in the minutes and bring it back to us at the October meeting.
So I'll second your motion to pull the minutes from approval for this meeting and defer it to the next meeting for the consent calendar. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
With the,
Yeah.
okay. I'll second that.
Okay. You may vote on your dais. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Now on to monthly reports. Director Gruner with the Parks and Community Services Director's Update.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, commissioners and members of the community. Thank you. I'm just waiting for the presentation to be pulled up. There it is. All right, so this is my Parks and Community Services Department Monthly Director Update on September 11th, 2025. It's not exactly the fastest presentation, but having some technical difficulties. I know, technology is great, isn't it? When it's working. All right, so I want to quickly just provide some highlights. The first thing I want to highlight is the City Leadership Award recipient. In the month of October, it was our department's turn. Basically, each department, each month, it kind of rotates, but, among the different departments, from month to month, and October was our turn. And very proud to highlight Emily Pulaski for her continued service to the city, obviously, and also her passion and dedication to parks and community services in particular. So she coordinates all the athletic field reservations, including all the different user groups and working with the Newport Mesa Unified School District. She leads the city's team of field ambassadors. If you're familiar with them, they're the ones who go out in the field on the weekends and they get things prepped and set up and assist the various user groups with any type of concerns that they may have. She also oversees the city's adult sports program, which is over at the DRC, such as the pickleball program that we have there or the adult basketball program. She's a proud Costa Mesa native. She went to Costa Mesa High School and has pretty much grown up here, right here in Costa Mesa. And she started working for the city in February of 2009. So very excited, very proud, very well-deserved award for her, and she definitely appreciated quite a lot having that recognition for all her hard work. I want to give a quick update on Lions Cafe. So what we're doing initially in June, we went out for RFP. Unfortunately, we received 3 pretty much unqualified vendors. And so we went ahead and we closed the RFP process, and we're doing some targeted outreach right now. And we've gone out to about 20 different businesses, businesses that are in the coffee business or in the related type of business, food business, right here in Costa Mesa. And one of the biggest criteria is that they have to be a Costa Mesa business. So we're doing that right now, and we're looking to reopen the RFP. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. We have to work with the finance department in the procurement division, and we will be working with them next week, and hopefully we can open it up in a couple of weeks. In addition to that, we're going to be providing a pre-bid walkthrough and a Q&A session. We really want to encourage, a lot of these businesses are small mom and pop businesses. They're not used to the RFP process. And if you look at on Plan a Bid, for example, that's where we post the RFP, and if you look at it, it looks pretty intimidating. So we want to make sure that we walk them through and they have a clear understanding and that we're here to assist if they're interested in being a vendor over there. All right, I do want to give also a Fairview Park update. So we had a couple council briefings over the last couple of weeks in regards to the Fairview Park Master Plan draft. So we are looking to release the master plan draft as soon as mid next week is our targeted date. We are making some preliminary revisions and then getting that out to the community. We'll be working with our marketing department and making sure that we have the maximum outreach possible to really let the community know about the Fairview Park Master Plan draft and that it is available. And as mentioned earlier, it is going to be coming back to PAX, or it's not back, but it is coming to PAX. And we're going to do a presentation on October 9th. And of course, then we will incorporate any type of feedback that will be needed to go up to council. And we're looking to present at council on October 21st. Another thing I want to highlight too is our Fairview Park Volunteer Restoration Program. That's on Saturdays, every second Saturday of the month. From 9 to 11, and we're always looking for volunteers. The program has really grown. We have well over 20 volunteers, consistent volunteers, which is great. We're definitely making a lot of progress with the restoration program over there, but we can always certainly use more. So if you're interested, please apply and join us out there every second Saturday. Oops, looks like I skipped the slide. So going back, so the Costa Mesa Senior Center, as I always do, I want to highlight the Senior Social Services program that we have over there. It is such a unique program that I want to make sure that the community knows about it. It's a year-round, no-cost mental health service to seniors age 50 and older. And for more information, please either visit the Senior Center or give us a call at 714-327-7550. So some upcoming events. As mentioned earlier, we have the Costa Mesa Art Venture, which is going to be kicking off this Saturday, September 13th, at the Norma Herzog and the Lions Park area from 11 to 3 p.m. It's a family-friendly event. We're going to be opening up the exhibition there. We have over 130 participants who provided about well over 200 art pieces. So that's very exciting to finally get that kicked off. I know it's been a lot of work for staff, but it's very well worth the effort and the time it takes to provide that program to the community. And then on September 20th is going to be the award ceremony, and that's from 6 to 9 p.m. over at the Orange County Museum of Art. And we're going to have live performances, refreshments, and the awards presentation. It's a great event. It's open pretty much for people to participate in and join us there. So if you're interested, definitely come on out. And I do want to just going back to the opening event, we are allowing people to be judges, and they can provide what their favorite art piece is, and they can certainly submit that recommendation, and that's for consideration of awarding the winners. And as mentioned earlier too, the California Diversity Day is this Saturday as well, and that's over at Fairview Park from 8 to 12. Commissioner Kamala has already mentioned that there's going to be walkthroughs, guided walkthroughs, and also self-guided walkthroughs where our staff actually recorded different aspects of the park that you can download through your phone on a QR code. So for those that can't make it in the morning, they can also come back in the afternoon, and they can enjoy that stroll through the park and learn about the park and all the different features that we have. Also want to highlight the Hispanic Heritage Month is this month, Saturday the 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're having some various performances from DJ Kaboom, Las Estrella, Folklore Mexicano, Sitara Sun, and Algarabia Colombiana folklore. So it's a great program, and that's also at Lions Park. And I would certainly want to invite all the community to come out and enjoy that festival. It should be a great event. All right, and a couple other upcoming events is a Scarecrow Festival on Saturday, October 11th. It's a kids' costume parade, trick-or-treat stations, and pumpkin decorating, music and games. We do have a Scarecrow contest as well, and that's going to be announced at the Scarecrow Festival. So if you're interested, register today and participate in that. And then definitely come on out on October 11th between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. for our Scarecrow Festival over at Lions Park as well. And then finally, we do have our Wicked Dance event. This is our Access Costa Mesa program. It's for all abilities friendly. Costumes are encouraged. It's for ages 16 and older. And that's October 17th from 5:30 to 7:30. And that's over at the Costa Mesa Senior Center. Over the last few years, that program has definitely grown quite a bit. I believe last year we had about 50 people. And it's just a great event. If you haven't seen it, definitely come out, just be a part of it. So definitely want to encourage that. And now I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our senior recreational supervisors, Kevin Stoddard and Ashley Thomas. And they're going to be providing a summer recap with all the different programs and just kind of highlighting some of the great events and programs and activities that were offered throughout the summer.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ashley Thomas, Senior Recreation Supervisor, and behind me here, joining me, is my colleague, Senior Recreation Supervisor Kevin Stoddard. We're excited to share today a glimpse into the energy, creativity, and memorable moments that filled our Parks and Community Services programs during the 2025 summer season. And I'm going to note at a time before I get started, we could have gone like 200 slides here, but we narrowed it down to 20. So here we go. Okay. So this summer, our department offered a variety of youth programs that brought fun, learning, and connection to children and teens across Costa Mesa. So we had our Camp Mini Explorers, our Summer Rocks program, our Summer Camp Costa Mesa, our Happy Feet Running Club, our Mobile Recreation, Smart Camp, and Teen Camp. Okay. So Camp Mini Explorers is a camp for participants 3 to 5 at the Blair Community Center. The program had 44 students enrolled in the season, for summer. They participated in nature walks, water play, science experiments, art, dance, and miscellaneous indoor and outdoor games. And look at that face. You can't help but love them. And then you have the Summer Rocks program. That's a free program as well to the community. It had about 455 unique participants to the Blair Community Center and another 142 to the Downtown Recreation Center. The kids at the Blair Community Center made full use of the recently renovated blacktops, thank you, Rob, to play basketball, pickleball, and street hockey. The Downtown Recreation Center made use of the gymnasium and had pool days at the Downtown Aquatics Center. And then we had our Camp Costa Mesa, which is a fee-based summer camp that had 252 unique participants across a 9-week-long sessions. Campers went on excursions to the Aquarium of the Pacific, Pirates Adventure, Camelot, Nickel Nickel, and many other fun locations. Happy Feet Running Club had about 108 participants split between 3 age divisions that practiced twice a week. 65 participants attended the end of the year fun run, which is at the Fairview Park, which ranged from anywhere from 1.3 to 3 miles, depending on the age division. All participants were rewarded with a medal and a lunch box provided by our sponsor, Frank's Philadelphia Sandwiches. So if you have not been to this program, I also think this is a gym. It's a hidden gym almost, but we get great participation. And parents love to watch their kids get tired and run down by the time they leave. So. And then we have Mobile Recreation. Mobile Recreation is a free program for all ages that are, and this summer we welcomed about 45 unique participants. And we had a total, about 461 total visits at the Lions Park event lawn. So that's like all the numbers added up every single day. But 45, that means we had a lot of returners. We had the same kids returning from day to day. The team also brought activities to Movies in the Park, Make Music Day, concerts in the park, and Back to School Fresh. So we were busy with the mobile recreation program this summer. Smart Camp is a 3-week summer program jointly run by the Newport Mesa School District and the City of Costa Mesa. Smart Camp is offered to incoming 4th through 8th grade. Participants experience free, introductory, and immediate level instruction in sports, music, art, and they encourage children to engage in and explore new hobbies and activities. Newport Mesa provided free lunch between the mornings and afternoon sessions. Thank you, Newport Mesa. Camp operated from June 9th to June 26th at Costa Mesa High School, Davis Magnet, and Tewinkle Athletic Complex with a total of 283 unique participants in that program. So we do appreciate that partnership with Newport Mesa. Summer Teen Camp is a fee-based camp that meets daily at the Downtown Recreation Center Teen Center. Each week includes a variety of excursions that range from beach days, mall, movies, in places like the San Diego Safari Park, Knott's Berry Farm, and the Adventure Lagoon. Teen Camp had 79 unique participants across 9 weeks. The Downtown Recreation Center features a gymnasium, a gymnastics room, a multi-purpose room, a classroom, a pool, and house several of the Parks and Community Services programs. The Downtown Recreation Center operates about 15 hours a day on the weekdays during the summer for youth, teens, and adult sports. It's a hub of many of our programs, which includes the team programs, the Summer Rocks program, which we spoke about earlier, contract classes, the adult basketball league, movies in the park, and drop-in open gym. With more than 45 active user groups, our fields are busy, all very busy throughout the school year. And year-round, including the summertime, supporting both organized teams and community recreation. The department manages all the athletic field reservations for the city and Newport Mesa School District under the joint use agreement. And again, thank you, Emily, for that. She does the majority of that. These fields host a wide variety of activities, including soccer, tackle and flag football, rugby, baseball, softball, and other sports. I did list like a few tournaments. So the first three are in the months of May, and then the very last one is the month of September. But your OC Classic is your AYSO, your soccer group. They had about 48 teams, about 650 players, and they estimated about 2,000 people came through throughout the weekend. And then we had our Newport Mesa Soccer Club tournament. They had 143 teams across 25 brackets for the weekend. Attendance reached approximately 8,000 on just Saturday, another 6,000 on that Sunday. Then we have our Newport Mesa Cup, which used to be Pilot Cup back in the day, if anyone's familiar with that. But that is a partnership between Costa Mesa United, Newport Mesa School District, and the City of Costa Mesa. And the district-wide event was for 3rd grade to 6th grade, boys and girls, in both public and private school in both Newport and in Costa Mesa. The tournament hosts 180 teams, and they're estimated about 10,000 attendees over the 6-day event. So we have a lot of people coming in and out of our Jack Hammett Sports Complex. And then in September is our McMillan tournament, which is also AYSO. This tournament hosts about 74 teams, 1,000 players, and about 3,000 attendees throughout the weekend. And of course, some of the fields that aren't Jack Hammett, right, get lots of rest renovation during that time. Jack Hammett, in addition, gets UCLA this past summer. In addition to that, they did get some amazing renovations that took place, and our fields look better than ever. It's amazing. And again, thank you, Rob and his team. Good thing he's sitting right in front of me. Okay. And then we have our adult sports leagues. So the City of Costa Mesa offers the league, is what we call it, but it's our adult basketball league. And it's for players 18 and older. It's held Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening at the Downtown Recreation Center. This past season operated from May 12th to July 21st, and it reached full capacity on Mondays with 8 teams and 7 teams on Wednesday night, totaling 176 adult players out there playing. So that was fun to see. We also host and are responsible for Major League Softball, and that's at Twinkle Athletic Complex. In partnership with Major League Softball, the city hosts adult softball. It runs Monday through Thursday. The program offers both co-ed and men's league, upper and lower, throughout the year. For the spring 2025 season, they had about 76 teams, an estimated 1,368 players that took the field. So we get a lot of people out there. And then another hidden gem is our senior softball. So senior softball is we have a handful of volunteers that just love the game. And so they go out there and they offer free softball program for adults 18 and older. It's held on Saturday mornings at Twinkle Sports Complex and or Luke Davis, depending on who's on rest or renovation, right? So they use both locations. With the support of many dedicated volunteers, participants enjoy batting practice and a friendly game with each other. So this program currently has about 32 registered players, but they have about 20 that are regulars that come on a recurring basis. And I will now turn it over to my colleague, Kevin.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's my pleasure to talk a little bit first about the Downtown Aquatic Center. The Downtown Aquatic Center offers drop-in programs Monday through Saturday for the duration of the summer season. Adult lap swim was offered from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and 11:45 to 1:15 p.m. Monday through Friday, 6:45 to 8:30 p.m. Monday and Wednesday, and from 7:30 to 9 a.m. on Saturdays. Adult lap swim had more than 1,700 drop-ins during the summer. Open swim was offered Monday through Saturday from 1:30 to 3 p.m. and was attended more than 1,100 times both by individual families and camps. The Downtown Aquatic Center also offered 2 theme night open swims this summer. One was a dive-in movie featuring Lilo and Stitch on July 19th. Another was a luau-themed night swim on August 1st. Each event had approximately 100 participants. Adult swimming lessons had 37 enrollments, and shallow water aerobics had 115 enrollments this summer. Instructors adapt each individual class to the skills and fitness levels to meet the needs of every class participant. The Downtown Aquatic Center also teaches the American Red Cross Learn to Swim curriculum for students ages 6 months to 15 years of age. Group lessons are offered on weekdays, semi-private classes are offered on Saturdays, and one-on-one classes are scheduled by appointment. This summer, there were 676 enrollments for youth swimming lessons. The Downtown Aquatic Center's summer season ends with a 5-day-long aqua camp that features 5 themed days of aquatic games and activities. And aqua camp was filled to full capacity with 60 participants this summer. The city works with private sector instructors to provide classes to the public in both facilities and places of business. The Parks and Community Services Department advertises classes and handles registration for agreed-upon classes in which the city collects 35% of the revenue. Karate, tumbling, dog obedience, CPR and AED, fencing, along with a variety of other dance, music, and art classes are some of the classes available to the public. The Senior Center, which has nearly 5,000 active members currently, is busy all year long, but it's definitely busy during the summer as well, and it serves a significant number of residents and notably a significant number of non-residents. The center provides a wide variety of classes and social groups to its members. Examples include play readers, current events, discussion groups, painting for enjoyment, poker, and tablet and phone basics. There are many others. I think there's 42 total classes and groups offered. The center hosted one Independence Day themed luncheon this summer, which had 70 attendees. And the city also partners with Meals on Wheels OC to provide lunch Monday through Friday in the Senior Center's Grand Hall. Over the course of the summer, 3,762 meals were served to seniors. The Senior Center also contracts with Orange County Yellow Cooperative to provide taxi service in Costa Mesa and non-emergency medical rides throughout most of Orange County. Just this last 3 months during the summer season, the taxi program provided 7,406 taxi rides. The center also works with Second Harvest Food Bank to provide grocery distribution on the second and fourth Fridays of every month. An average about 2 tons, sometimes more, of groceries are distributed to nearly 200 seniors every grocery day. The Costa Mesa Senior Center distinguishes itself from most other senior centers in the county and throughout most of California, actually, that has a licensed clinical social worker on staff. The community outreach worker provides one-on-one appointments with senior clients to assist in all manner of needs from mental health to connecting to services. The community outreach worker had a total of 81 one-on-one appointments this summer. The city operates 2 community gardens. One is the Del Mar Gardens, which boasts 57 parcels with 5 new elevated beds, and the Hamilton Garden, which offers 42 plots. There were more than 40 attendees at the 2 recent community work parties to maintain the gardens this summer. The Concerts in the Park series, the Movie in the Park series, and the Independence Day celebration are all summertime staples within the city. The Concert in the Park kicked off on July 8th and every following Tuesday, the end of the month at Fairview. This year's artists were Family Style, Flashback Heart Attack, the Tijuana Dogs, and the Pacific Symphony. 3,000 to 5,000 people attend each event. The Movies in the Park convened on the second Saturday in June, July, and August. Sonic 3 was shown at Schiffer Park, the first time having the event in Schiffer Park. Moana 2 was shown at Balearic Park, and The Iron Giant was shown in Lions Park. Each event draws between 150 and 250 participants. The annual Independence Day celebration took place at the OC Fairgrounds on July 3rd, and the crowd was entertained with DJ, live performances, fireworks display. I think more than 7,000 people were in attendance. And thank you. That concludes our presentation. We're available for questions.
Thank you both for that presentation. I'd like to open it up to commissioner comments and questions, and then I will go to public comment. Are there commissioner comments? Commissioner Ledger.
Real quick, how many people did you say attended Music in the Park?
Concerts in the park is typically 3 to 5.
No, the music in the park?
Yeah, concerts in the park, sorry.
Oh, concerts in the park, okay.
Yeah,
I believe it's between 3,000 to 5,000 per event. I don't know what
per
specifically.
night
Yeah.
approximately? Okay, no, I wasn't sure if that was overall or per night, that's all. And then, I do want to say the tech help offered at the senior center, really need to push that because I see people on Facebook, on community pages, trying to sell their tech help to seniors, and they should know it's free. I've been commenting when I see it that it is free, but let's see. How do you sign up if somebody wants to sign up for softball or basketball? How do you sign up for that?
So the city website's a great resource. If you go to the search engine, so basketball's a little bit different because we operate the basketball league here in Costa Mesa, but it's very simple. There's an online application on the website. And then as far as softball goes, you actually go through the Major League Softball website. Again, super user-friendly, but if you go to our city website as like your main hub, it has links on it and it gives easy, clear directions on how to register.
Thank you. And as for Mesa Cup, I want to say all school employees really appreciate that. It eliminates a lot of problems with the kids that don't get to play on teams that don't know how to play soccer, trying to go in at school and play soccer. So love that. And love how much enrollment we had for the swim classes. That was great. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner comments or questions to my left? Commissioner Kamala.
No questions, just thank you. I think concerts in the park were great. Kids were there. I look at everything you guys went through, and it's super amazing. And I know my boys participated in all of it, and we loved it. We even took them to the Del Mar Gardens with a friend of ours who owns a plot. So if you guys haven't been there, I encourage you to go out. It's super cool. They got to pick some chilies that I wish I had brought more water for, but it was great. And it looks like they're expanding some additional plots on the backside. So it was great. And even if you go there, there's a fig tree that is, I think, just community fig tree, and they were picking it and eating figs fresh. It's just a great experience for kids. So thank you for that. Appreciate everything you do.
Commissioner Dornbach.
I just had some clarifying questions. So going back to the arts at Norma Herzog that we can be jury, what times will Norma Herzog Community Center be open so people can come by and look at from the 13th to the 27th?
So, do you mind looking up the exact times on there? Thank you. So, of course, this Saturday, it'll be open.
Right.
So 11 to 4, the exhibition will be open. There are different times between weekend and weekdays. That's why I want to confirm the times quickly. But it's a People Choice Award, to be clear. So we do have a professional, like a jury group come in and judge and so that's the majority of the awards, right? But we do have a People Choice Award that people love. So it's a QR code, easy to go ahead and vote. And then I know Ms. Villasenor is looking up, or Ms. Fatua.
Thank you for clarifying. So there's the jury, which is the
Correct.
awards on the 20th, but then there's, I like how you framed it, the
Correct. And
People's
then the
Choice.
mayor actually will be doing the People's Choice Awards. So that'll be the almighty award, the People's Award. So we're excited for that one.
So generally what time for that, because it's almost, 10 days. I can't imagine it's going to be open from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Generally, it will be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The way to locate the hours, it can be found at the city website. If you look up Art Venture Juried Art Show, it will come up and it's available.
Great. Another question related to September 20th. Are there still tickets available? Because I know they
Yes.
sell out really fast. Okay.
Yes,
And we
yes.
can get them
It's still open
on-
and available.
We
Correct.
can get them online, right?
Yes, and to clarify, they're free. It's just you need to register to come in advance.
Thank you. The other one, which is a little bit to do with this or not, have we been approached at all about Olympics for training facilities? We have so many facilities, so are we, because that's pretty big. And even though it seems like it's far away, it's not far away. So I just wasn't sure, because I know over at OCC and a little bit of Golden West, they're being, and I think UCI, every space is being connected to different countries and stuff. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, we have been contacted by, they have, the Olympic Committee has different consultants that they're working with for different regions, and we have been in contact with them, and we had some preliminary discussions. It's an ongoing process, so, but we are in contact with them, yes.
Because how amazing and how much growth has happened since I've been on this commission on, granted, came on during COVID, is spectacular. It's just very specific. It's very community-based, but it's also really utilizing our facilities and from all ages. So I just, starting with the little toddlers all the way up to senior softball. So I just want to thank you, because it didn't happen arbitrarily. It was deliberate. It was specific. It was planned. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
Yeah, thank you for that report. It was great. There's a lot of information, a lot of really nice events. I did have a question for Fairview Park Volunteer Day and the Hispanic Heritage Month. Is there a way that you guys are coordinating with Costa Corridor to? I know that they've been emphasizing on the Spanish speakers to give their feedback for the opening of the park. And so I know that they have a large network of Spanish speakers. Is there a way that we can encourage them to send out those flyers to encourage those individuals to come and volunteer and participate?
For the volunteer days over at Fairview Park, yeah, we do work closely with the Coastal Corridor Alliance. We have a really strong partnership with them. Actually, this Biodiversity Day that's coming up this Saturday, we're in collaboration with them. So we can certainly, explore that option to be working more with the, Spanish-speaking individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Back to School Fresh. I know that was one of the events that was highlighted, and it really made an impact in the community, especially with what's going on. This is the 4th year in a row that's been happening, and I don't have the numbers of how many backpacks, haircuts, and just snacks that were given away, but a lot of that kind of like energy is still flowing, and I'm really encouraging the city to continue participating and volunteering, or not volunteering, but just making more of those events with nonprofits and organizations that are all about the community. So thank you for that.
Commissioner Ledger had one other question before Vice Chair Wright.
Yes, I'm sorry. So for the coffee shop that you're going to be opening in Lions Park, are we going to have a say in the cost of the coffee, since Lions Park really serves a lower income community?
Hi, I can give a little update because I've been working a little bit on this project. So because it will be a leased coffee shop, so it will go through the bidding process, and the cost proposal of some of their coffees will be something that we factor into the scoring of some of the proposals. So we do, highly encourage somebody to be cost effective, and all prices are to be ran through the city and approved at the department level or even the city manager's office. So that will be something, a factor that we'll consider when scoring the proposals.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Wright.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the presentation. I really wanted it because I feel like our summer rec programs can be a lot of people's first experiences with the city. I also, anecdotally, in my own research and with some friends, feel like we have some of the most affordable summer programming out of all of our neighboring cities. So I'm really proud of that, and I hope that that continues to be prioritized in the city's like macro budget perspective. So yes, I have a few questions. First, to talk about our senior services. Can you talk about, to your knowledge, like what are the top mental health issues that our seniors are facing? Because I can hypothesize, but I just wanted to know why that is such a valuable thing that we offer.
The number one thing that our community outreach worker actually deals with is not so much mental health, but housing and getting connected with like insurance and kind of navigating the administrative process of getting those resources. So I mean, there's stress that comes from that, but those are the major things. Because
they're so like technologically difficult to attain now, or also because they're so expensive?
As you get older, it's harder to jump through hoops to, submit multiple applications to multiple housing complexes. To get insurance, talk to an insurance agent. And the community outreach worker cannot do that for an individual, can only point. And so it's 81 meetings in 3 months doesn't sound like a lot, but these meetings tend to last quite a while because they're difficult. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's amazing. My next question is related to the taxi program and how successful it is. I know that the city has rolled out, I believe it's called Circuit, right? The like free rideshare app. I live in the zone, so I've tried it, and I have talked to the drivers, and they told me it was a lot of teenagers using it. And so then I got kind of concerned that the intention of it being used for seniors was maybe being missed by the fact that it's like you got to do an app and all that. So are you hearing from your end that it is being used by the seniors, or did we stumble upon a new teen rideshare service?
There is very little overlap between the two programs. The transportation programs are actually very complex, but a big part of why there's very little overlap is our current taxi model. Almost every city in the county has a transportation program that's funded through OCTA M2 funds. Ours is probably the most liberal and expansive in the county. There's several metrics you could use to measure that, but ours is easily the best. And there is absolutely no purpose to use another program when the taxi service is available. It's just, it's very easy to use.
Can you explain why ours is the best?
So it's free.
It's completely free?
Completely
okay.
free. You can make an appointment via phone. Our policy is that rides have to be 48 hours in advance, but Yellow Cab will try to do day of rides, and they meet, I think, about 90% of those on time. It will go anywhere in the county for non-emergency medical appointments, and anywhere within the city for any other purpose. The circuit program it's limited to a very finite area, and if you're a senior navigating a GPS, kind of like where can I go to, where not, that's not going to work out so well.
Totally. It has definitely like a younger interface, in my opinion. Okay, so what I'm hearing is when the intention for the circuit, I mean, I feel like it was advertised when it was launched as like, it's going to be for seniors, right?
There was advertising.
There was maybe some misalignment there of like what our needs are, what our senior needs are.
There was advertising towards seniors, but again, it's the model of the Yellow Cab service is just so effective that there's not a reason to try to navigate something that has more restrictions. It's an economics.
That is, I think, worth noting. That's really interesting. And I know we signed a contract with Circuit for quite a while, like 2 years or something. 3 years? Do you guys know?
And I just want to add in that our department doesn't manage the circuit program, so the Public Works Department and the Transportation Division manages that. I believe it was awarded through a grant program, and so it wasn't specifically for seniors. It's more for the area of like a downtown transit, shuttle service that seniors could utilize, but it was technically for everybody as the grant program, I think, was proposed.
Yeah. And like, that's amazing. Free money. I love what it could be too, like basically paving the path for that, like a downtown shuttle system of some sort. But yeah, I remember I even sent it to a friend who doesn't drive and works, goes to school in West Side, and she was like, "Can I use it even though I'm not a senior?" And I was like, "Yes, you can." So yeah, that's cool. Okay, my next just small question is, what time of the day would the mobile rec center or mobile rec pop-up happen?
On the time. If I recall correctly, I believe it was the 11 to 4, but I'll double check. Is that correct? Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
I'm getting the head shake. Yes.
Love it. Love that
Yes.
program.
It is. It's great.
Another comment that I have is I love that we do open swim hours in the summer for the pool. I think that's great. I wish we had it more like beyond the summer, especially because our like warm weather persists beyond the, for our locals only summer. In fact, I kind of love the idea of having like summer hours for a lot more of our facilities and having those open to people just to take advantage of. I know that summer is basically like our busiest time anyways, so that might not even work, but was I missing it? Do we do any programming in the Norma Herzog Center over the summer?
So the Herzog Center is booked out, I think, almost 6 months in advance on weekends, and it's used pretty frequent, not every day, but pretty frequently for city meetings. There are multiple other government organizations that use it for meetings. It's used pretty frequently, but not every single hour of every day.
Okay, cool. I feel like it's normally are the rentals of the Norma Herzog Center normally in one of your reports, Director Gruner? Right? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I'm just going back to one time David Martinez came in and he had that idea that like the center or just like general community facilities should be open more for like indoor, like open-ended use, just to see what could happen there, Especially, I think he was sort of, well, now I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I feel like he was referring to like rainy days. Like different, now we're talking different weather, right? Not summertime. But I still just have that in the back of my head. Like, I like that concept. Okay, I have questions about the joint use agreement with Newport Mesa. So I feel like there was some contention a while back about how that was going as far as a couple of like West Side school fields being open. And then the Harper Park issue, it just brought to mind because we talked about it. So where are we at with like Harper Park, the dog situation, having to have a cop there all the time? Do we have any update there?
Yeah, I can provide an update on that. So the ranger is still in place, and there's some high-level discussions among the city manager and the superintendent, Wes, and that dialogue needs to occur first before we can move forward with a coordinated plan of how to get away from utilizing the ranger and put something in place that is acceptable to the community.
So just still kind of figuring it out, unfortunately. Yeah, that was a theme in my park ranger tour where they were like, yep, we all still have to go to Harper Park. It sucks. So I feel like that's not the best use of their time, and I do support them in that opinion, as an East Side resident as well. Okay, I have one more. I have one more thought, and then I have some more philosophical questions for you guys. Earlier in the spring, I participated in a 5 p.m. swim class with my child, and I've noticed that like all the Saturdays get booked up so fast, and I just feel like that 5 p.m. class really was unique in it worked for working parents. And so I just do want to make a note that I would love to see, especially as it starts getting darker soon, some like early evening programming and classes for parents who work. So do you have any thoughts on that?
our classes actually go through, or youth lessons will go through 6 o'clock, and then adult lessons start from 6 o'clock to about 7:45. So the Aquatic Center, even during the spring and summer, still opens at 6:30. Sorry, spring and fall still opens at 6:30 in the morning, and it will run all the way through until almost 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's super impressive. I even mean like the classes, like the gymnastics class or whatever that I think we do through third parties. I think that would be a good example of something that maybe we could nudge into the evenings. Yeah, I see you nodding your head.
Right. I find the similar challenges as a mom, working mom as well. But then I look at the full guide and there's classes all the way till like 9, 10 o'clock. It just tends to be more adults after like the 7 o'clock mark, due to probably bedtimes, right? So I have that challenge as well, but we do see the room fully utilized for programs the entire night.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm not surprised because we have the best city ever. So
We would love another community center though, so if
Right?
that could open up some rooms.
which leads me to my next
I
question.
had to plug it in, right?
Yeah, no, never give up that dream. We will make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that takes me to my next question. I feel like we've talked about this in the past, but like, what would you guys say is your greatest challenges? And also, how do you measure success of your programs? What are your goals? Just something light. If you can answer those 3 big questions for me, please.
I'm going to start. Okay. I'll take the first one. So obviously the challenge, space. I know I just mentioned jokingly a community center, but truly space. We'd love it to be a arts and culture community center even, you know, if we go to the next step. So space, I think, is the challenge that we have. We're so built out, whether it's field space, whether it's lights, whether it's community center space. We maximize all the space we currently have. So I would say that's our biggest challenge to, let's say, growth at this point. And then how do we measure our success? I believe is your second side of that question. We're almost little businesses, right? Every program. So we take every single part, whether from the very beginning to the very end. So from the marketing all the way to the feedback we get from parents, from the staff. We're constantly improving. We're constantly enhancing. We're constantly changing things up. We always have good ideas. And that's the best part about bringing in fresh ideas and fresh staff that are full of energy and passion. And we take those ideas, and the next year you're going to see changes constantly to our programming. And it's amazing, and that makes it fun and keeps it fresh for the kids and the parents too. So I would say those are my 2 responses.
Ashley has good answers. I would say our job is kind of like real life Tetris. It kind of fits what Ashley said. We have so much stuff that we have to do with a finite number of resources. It's a very complex puzzle, more complex than I think from the outside you would realize. Trying to make everything happen, train staff, make sure everything has a place, getting creative with how to use our spaces. Some of our staff are in places stuffed in like sardines because we have so many staff. We're so built out now. Measuring success, I mean, there's obviously quantitative, right? You can go through some of these numbers. Some of them are staggering how big they are. I've been with this city for 15 years, and some of these are the largest numbers that we've ever had, like 5,000 members at the senior center. That is a good measure of success, but that also poses a lot of challenges. There's good problems to have.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question, of course, but I'm just thinking again about how much I love the Aquatic Center, and I feel like I should have said this at the beginning, but the staff there are so amazing, and you can just tell that they really love the kids. Like, they know all of them by name, and you can tell that they're like rooting for them to get to the next level. You know, I just have a baby, so, you know, it's really just me and her like splashing around, but there's always like the older kids classes happening like parallel to us. And I'm just so excited for her to like be able to participate in that down the road. And I'm so grateful. And I kind of feel like a lot of people don't know about the Aquatic Center, which is like crazy to me. But I'm thinking back to the Brentwood Park feedback survey. People would like submit comments too, and someone literally commented like, we should have a pool at Brentwood because we don't have a public pool in Costa Mesa. And I was like, I really want to find this person to tell them, like, actually we do have a pool. So pause on the flattery. Follow-up question is, can you give me an example of something that you learned from last summer or feedback you received that you applied an improvement or changes to for this summer?
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Those are my questions to them for their evaluations. You're stealing my thunder.
Implemented.
Yeah. So like I said, the senior transportation program is very complex. That has, I don't want to get into too much detail, but done a lot of research based on the ridership growth we've had. This is obviously getting very expensive, and you can only apply for so many grants. So based on a lot of research for the last year, we're looking at other transportation models. We're going to start doing outreach actually to the participants. Again, I don't want to get too specific, but we're going to have to get very creative in the next year on how this program is operated due to the size.
Let's see. One that comes to my mind is probably the Happy Feet Running Club. We started out with just the concept, right? Like, kids won't want to run, right? And then next thing we know, we had this like flood of children and parents show up, and parents are like, good luck, you know, dropping them off to us. Next thing you know, we're growing more than ever. So this is the first time that, based off the feedback, we broke it down into divisions by age. And we saw a lot more success by it broken down, because you could do a lot more age specific, right? Based off their development, based on how far they can run. And we even broke it down, even divisions into groups based on their running skill set. So that was something that was new to this season that we hadn't done prior. And we found it very successful, even to running, because we had even more kids show up this year. So even to running the fun run, it was broken down by division, and then the other groups cheered on the other kids along the way, so that was fun to see, like a little cheering squad. So we will be doing that moving forward.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, my response to your senior travel comment and how it's like, it's so successful, but it's inherently like not sustainable because it's funded by grants. It kind of just makes me reflect on how non-friendly the bus is towards seniors. I love taking the bus in other cities, not here, with my baby, and I dared to try it with my baby. And I feel like there's a lot of parallels in like the needs of a stroller and the needs of like a wheelchair, and just like having to wait on the side of a busy road where there's no seating and there's no shading. It's like, it just doesn't work for our seniors, and we don't have a local Costa Mesa line either. And I know that obviously the benefit of the taxi program is they can go anywhere in Orange County. But it's just so impractical. And so if you guys ever like need support in advocating to like OCTA on behalf of our seniors, like I don't know how we can basically rally the city or the Active Transportation Committee, or even like Costa Mesa Alliance for Better Streets, but I feel like that's possibly an angle there. And I would love to see that come to life for sure. And then just want to comment on we always need more space and facilities. Obviously, you might be aware that like we have a West Side Development Park Fund. Like we've identified certain areas in the city like need more parks, and council has said, okay, yeah, eventually we'll like acquire land and turn it into a park. But like, do you have a space in mind or a building in mind, or even like a partnership in mind, like with OCC or some other private entity that could possibly unlock like another building or space for us that maybe I'm not thinking of?
Sure.
Or the Fairview Development Center, maybe?
Feel free to jump in, Director Gunnar, Manager Villasenor, but I would say that we live off of partnerships in the city, especially the school district is a prime one. We have open access at multiple sites now because of the partnership with the JUA, so it opens up the field for all the neighborhoods to come in to enjoy them. But we constantly, whether it's soy, partnering with them, whether like nonprofits all over, we're constantly looking for opportunities to partner in I know we did one with the school district also with like just swimming that we were just talking about the last time we were here. So I think
Do we
that
partner with Vanguard? Do we use any of their?
Vanguard's coming to Art Venture this Saturday with their jazz group. So we do partnership, especially in the arts. I'm not aware of any other partnership other than like career days, and our HR department is close with their department. But to my knowledge, that's the only partnership that I'm aware of. I also know that they have a very small facilities as well, right? So they have limited space. They actually reach out to us at times and an OCC at times to expand their space. So we all have a space issue at times.
Everybody wants to be in the best city in the world. Everybody wants to spend their summer
That's
here.
right.
But we're going to figure it out. We're going to prioritize that hopefully in the budget for you. Okay.
Vice Chair.
Thank you.
A quick comment, Liz, because then I want to weigh in.
I have pretty loud voice, but not that loud. Also, you need to record it. One of the things that other cities and municipalities are doing is give a ride, get a ride for seniors. So those seniors that can drive, they go on a board, they take seniors to their appointments to the grocery stores, and it's been very popular and it's been growing. And I know there's some insurance issues, but it takes away the cost, and it also is the connectivity that seniors are so missing. And since we have a senior center, we also have the Bethany Towers, and hopefully soon the new senior housing in the senior center, that makes it easier than some of the rural communities that have been doing this. And I can get more information, but it's seniors that can drive, and they have to go through a test. I think AARP runs the test, so that you make sure that they have the capacity to drive. And then when they have to give up their driving capacity, then they've logged in so many hours that they've donated to help other seniors, that then they are provided their ride, and it doesn't it's an administrative cost, but it's not an ongoing cost one for one. So that might be something, and I remember it called Give a Ride, Get a Ride. And some people started driving, in their early 60s, and they drove people for 20 years, and then they needed driving for 8 years. And it's just, I first heard it on NPR like 10 years ago, and then they've been doing upgraded stories. But when you're talking about creativity, talk about connectivity, fees, also helping seniors connect to seniors. And most of the rides, even in the rural areas, were within like 3 to 5 miles. I mean, if you're talking about a senior needing to go to the food store or go to appointments, a lot of times we're doctor's appointments. That's a lot. When they lose their license, they have a lot of doctor's appointments. So that's it. So that's a creative thing to take a look at.
This is what a really great report gets, which is a lot of engagement and feedback. So kudos to you. But I actually mean that. Really great job. And as I was watching your presentation, I was thinking this should be a really easy thing to put on social media, where you could take those photographs and make them into a reel that you're like looking back on, Parks and Rec. So I would love to see something like that, minimal work, but it takes the work that you've done and pushes it out to the public who may not be here or who may not go to our website and look. So just one idea. I have a question about the elevated beds. So the 5 new elevated beds, what does that translate into in terms of new users at the garden?
So to be clear, there's 10 total beds. They're about 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, and they get 2 of those. So they're actually 5 new gardeners because they each get 2. So 10 beds total there, but we put 2 together, if that makes sense.
So you're taking 5 people off that long list of people.
Correct.
Okay, so I have a suggestion for the next report, and I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what I hear from Vice Chair Wright, which is we're hungry for analysis. And I think I've certainly, as I've been on PACs, I've seen a kind of progression in terms of the types of things that we're looking for from you all in the city. So I recognize that. And I think some of us up here are really hungry for analysis. So something like that would be a really great opportunity, instead of saying, like, for example, we have 5 new beds. It actually turns out 10. But what that means is those, like, put it into context for us, like analyze it. It means actually we've been able to serve 5 more people, to take 5 people off the list. That helps me understand, so what? Otherwise, I'm like, great. You know, it's great, like 5 new, but I don't actually know what it means. And I would say I'd push that farther. So this is just an idea for next time that I would really like to see, which is as you're putting together the report, I think it is really important to highlight all of the successes, which is what I take of what you've done. Put it into context, analyze it. So even as you were talking about how you've witnessed a rise in the number of users over the past year, make sure that that analysis is a part of it. So it's not just numbers, but like we understand why that number matters. So I would say that's one thing. I think leaning more into analysis, that's really helpful for us as Parks Commissioners. And the second thing I would say is, don't shy away from also acknowledging limitations, which is not about your reputation as a staff member. And I realize it's risky when you put out, when you put out details that might not be all shiny happy, but I think it's really helpful to understand where are the limitations, right? So I appreciated your answer to the metrics. It didn't really answer the question. Like, I have no idea what the metrics of success are. The only thing I think I understand is that it has something to do with numbers. And I would say that that's one of many ways that you can analyze success. I actually only think it's a way to analyze success if I understand what's come before. And it really only matters if I understand where we're going. Where would we like to go? So that's what I mean, like really, like if we could have a better understanding alongside some of the highlights, what are the metrics? How do you analyze success? What does it mean for you? And not where have you fallen short, because that's a really negative way. You clearly haven't fallen short at all, quite the opposite. But where are those places where there's an opportunity to rethink, retool? You know, for example, I have questions about the teen program. How successful is that? Like, and I'm not going to drill down into that now, but that would be one area where I'd be like, so talk to me about, please, don't feel the need to answer this now. This is just for like next time. But like, when you were conceptualizing the program, what did you have in mind in terms of success? And based upon our population, what kind of numbers would you hope? Who did you get? Number of return users? What do you feel like? Is that significant? It takes a lot of time, of your time, to run these programs. I'm actually really interested in hearing that kind of analysis to better support you. So that's just my 2 cents for down the road. You know, putting things into context a bit more and like analyzing that, I think would be really helpful. Otherwise, I am kind of swimming in numbers and I think they're good because you tell me they're good, and I actually want to like know that they're good because you've shown me that they are.
Sure.
So,
and I would just like to quickly highlight.
Yeah.
Every single one program, we go through that. We have a report. It's very robust. It ends up being anywhere from 5 to 20 pages, depending on the program. So we do go through that process. And like I said, it's a very extensive process. We look back, we look forward, we take feedback. We really take feedback. Like we try to do holistic feedback from people who are running the facility, from the parents, the kids, so we do go through that process. We'd probably have to go program by program if we were to do that for the commission. That's why we try to do high level. Otherwise, we would be here like council. So,
we're working on it.
Yes, yeah, right. Yes. So, but we do indeed do that internally, just for your.
And maybe it's not all or nothing. Right? Maybe there's a deep dive on something, right?
Sure.
So that's a challenge, actually, is like, how do you think about providing high level, but also some of those metrics of success in the areas that are most significant? Okay, I want to open this up. Thank you for being patient and standing this whole time. I want to open this up to public comment. If anyone would like to make public comment in the chambers. Yes, please join us. Podium mic is on.
Hi, thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Matt Garcia, speaking as a resident and parent of 2 kids who participate in a lot of the programs we just heard about. I'd like to thank the Parks Department for all the work they do. My 2 kids very much enjoy the swimming program, the running club, concerts in the park. I think Kevin's actually given lessons to my kids over the years. So very grateful for all that. One comment or feedback I do have, I know that Scarecrow Fest is coming up, and the city does a lot to ensure folks with disabilities are included. And one thing that's, we've experienced is at some of the events for the kids where candy is given out, oftentimes there's a lot of candy with dairy in it. And sometimes it's all the candy has dairy in it. And if you have an allergy, that can be, and you're a little kid, that can be pretty upsetting. So if you don't get to eat the candy, and if the parent didn't prepare to bring candy, then so I would just ask. Maybe this has been addressed already, but at those events, there's lots of good candies that don't have any of the top allergens in it. So that would, and they're just as cheap as the other ones. So that would be my one piece of feedback. But otherwise, yeah, very proud of to live in Costa Mesa with all these different programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fatua, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to make a public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any final thoughts, Director Gruner?
No, I just want to say, thank you to Kevin and Ashley, and it really kind of shows that the wide breadth of the programs and activities that the department really does. And it also goes into working with other departments, from everything from Public Works to, the IT department, the marketing team upstairs on the 5th floor. So it's really a team effort, and it really takes, quite a commitment and quite a passion to really put a lot of these programs together. So I'm just really, really proud of my team. They do a fantastic job, and I think it's reflected with the comments that we get and responses from the community and the residents. So that's another measure of the success. What's the feedback that we're getting? Are people coming back? We can do surveys, we can do different types of metric measurements, but really customer satisfaction are the people smiling? Are they happy? Are they coming back and returning customers over and over again? So I just want to make that comment. Thank you.
And I hear that Vice Chair Wright would like to make one more comment.
Yes, so I want to kind of just go off of what she said about the analytics and basically share that I view our role as we are here to go deeper into all these issues with you guys to then advocate for your needs and your vision and what you want to do more of to council. I think we should, as a commission, should actually have an impact. And I think it really connects to even this CIP budget process that we've been working on. And so I want to understand everything you do, what you think is going good, what you want to do better, and why, and feel really confident. So when I go meet with the mayor and it's budget season and the 5-year CIP is coming up, I can communicate to what more you guys want to do and how you see it fitting into getting something slotted in the 5-year, So I think that's another reason why I just want to encourage that we're down for the data, because I have a bigger vision for even our commission and how we can help you guys. So thank you so much.
Mr. Ryan, it is time for the Public Works Maintenance Services Update.
Thank you, Chair Brown. Good evening. My department update will consist of a CIP project update. So the first project to update you on is the Brentwood Park Improvements Project. Right off the bat, you'll probably notice a slight change to the footprint of where the swings are going to be. When we started looking at constructability with some of our team, there was some issues with grading and a retaining wall that would need to be constructed along that swing area that was the volleyball net. The biggest issue and concern one of the concerns was the cost in the grading and the retaining wall to be required. The larger issue was there's a very large mature tree right in that area. That grading and the retaining wall we felt would damage a lot of the tree root system, potentially damaging that tree. So we did tweak the footprint of that area. We reduced it in size. A couple of benefits to that was, again, the cost savings in the design, getting the project under budget. A more natural feel to the design, which we were happy to see. We did sacrifice one bucket swing and one face-to-face swing, but everything else we were able to maintain in that area. We did move the proposed seating area to the other end of the park, which has some natural shade. So everything else we were able to keep in that footprint, and I think most importantly, save that tree and not compromise that root system. Some of the other proposed improvements are upgrade to the walkways and pathways, LED lighting, the picnic shelter. Both the LED lighting and picnic shelter, we've obtained quotes for installation and for materials, so we're ready to go on that part of the project. The purchase of materials was approved by council, and we have the PO in hand for the material purchase, ready to go there. RFP for installation was issued a couple weeks ago. Bids are due back September 18th. So we're looking for construction to hopefully begin November of 2025, so November of this year. Next up is the Costa Mesa Skate Park expansion. Again, this doubles the size of our skate park. Construction plans have been submitted to Building Safety for review. Working through that process with the various utilities. We do have that number of SCE power lines right along the border of that project. We do have some reclaimed water that we're using, so it requires a little bit of an extra layer of review, but we're working through that process. Anticipating that bidding and award of the project will be in fall of 2025, with construction beginning most likely early 26 at this point. But we do have the design and plans submitted to our building safety team for review, so that's a great step there. Next up is Ketchum-Liebolt Park expansion. We have received the bids. We're working on the selection process. Anticipate the award of contract to go before the council on October 21st, with construction to begin in early 2026 on that project. Shalimar Park improvements. Again, the design's been completed. I'm still working on some feedback from the various utilities. We did have a large water line that was nearby, made some adjustments there. We are anticipating the release for the bid by the end of September, so the end of this month, and completing that process and beginning construction hopefully early 2026 as well. So making some great progress on that project. Next up is the Teamical Park Lakes repairs. The contract was approved by council September 2nd. So right now we're beginning the project coordination for wildlife management and dewatering of the lakes. You'll start seeing, we had some signs posted. We were doing some testing to see how long it would take to reduce the water level to begin construction. You'll be seeing some sandwich boards going up the next couple of weeks, some social media posts talking about what we're doing, talking about the wildlife management and those types of things. So we have our public services, our public information team engaged in that. We're going to be starting with that upper lake and doing one lake at a time. So we'll be looking at continuing that dewatering process and beginning construction hopefully early October. So next month. It's coming up quick. A few projects at Fairview Park. Spoke with our Fairview Park administrator, Mr. Dalton, and we got some updates on these. First, the Fairview Park's bluff stabilization. Again, this is to repair and stabilize the west bluffs. The RFP for design of the restoration has been issued. Staff is in the process of interviewing consultants. The final selection expected to be at the end of this month, with anticipated award of the contract in November or December. The design environmental review is expected to take at least 12 months, could be up to 18 months, but shooting for that 12-month with construction expected to begin late 26 or early 27. And that's anticipated about a 2-year construction to complete in 2029. Next is the Mesa restoration. This is native habitat restoration in the Mesa and the surrounding area, obviously with preserving the site's cultural resources. Design, environmental planning, and permitted has all been completed. The award of the contract for implementation is scheduled for City Council September 16th. Implementation tentatively scheduled to begin October 2025, following the final contracting approval, the final restoration management permit by California Department of Fish and Wildlife. This is a 7-year implementation plan with the anticipated completion of 2032. And finally, some of the wetlands improvements, they enhance the water supply reliability and water quality, the recirculation and aeration systems. Staff is currently working on sourcing an on-call consultant to provide a scope of work for this project. They're negotiating with the consultant on final scope of work and proposal. They anticipate the award of contract to be November, December timeframe. The design and environmental review is expected again to take at least 12 months to complete that process, with construction expected to begin late 2026, early 2027. Next up, a couple of updates on the citywide assessments. First, the park assessments. Again, this was the goal was to prioritize parks with the greatest need for improvement, improve safety, identify facilities and buildings where improvements are needed, identify and assess existing playgrounds, and evaluate a long-term maintenance and replacement needs plan. The anticipated completion is November 2025. Speaking with the consultant, they're about 80% done with the parks, with a few more to go. There'll be a little bit of a staff review time and then scheduling a final presentation to the commission. Next is the tree canopy assessment. The goals for this assessment were to provide a baseline evaluation of Costa Mesa's tree canopy coverage citywide, analyze that distribution, and develop some actionable plans that are data-driven for development of canopy coverage across various geographic areas in order to maximize all the benefits that an urban forest would provide citywide. The general assessment has been completed. Currently, staff is reviewing that. A few minor comments, mainly on just the presentation side and how the information is viewed. We're anticipate wrapping that up and ready to present in again, November, December 2025. That's all my updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much. Commissioner, questions and comments? Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. It's really nice to know that you guys are looking for ways to preserve trees, especially with the root system. Trying to, minimize damage is really important, and that's keeping not only the trees but also the residents really safe. Yeah, I do have a question for Ketchum. Is there a list of trees that are currently gonna be planted? I'm noticing that a lot of the selection of the trees are like crepe myrtles, smaller trees that don't really have a lot of carbon sequestration. And is there like a plan that we can potentially have bigger trees that make sense? I know that there's a eucalyptus over in the corner, and all the pines by the street side are gonna be removed. So is there a way that that list can be something similar to those trees?
Commissioner, could you define your terms? What is carbon sequestration? What is that?
Oh, yeah. So carbon sequestration is at its potential, like the mass of the wood could hold up to 50% of carbon. So whatever the weight is, like 10 pounds is 50% carbon. And then bigger trees is more, just basically more important for, Rob, would you like to chime in and
As trees grow, they do remove carbons and store them in their hardwood. So the larger the tree goes, the more carbon that tree is absorbing and storing and not releasing into the environment. So that's a very important aspect of our tree canopy in our urban forest. Sure.
Yeah, so you were
answering the question? So there is a tree list. The design's already been established. There is a plant palette. I apologize, I don't have that before me right now. You are correct, some of those pine trees are going to be removed. That eucalyptus is going to be removed, mainly for safety reasons, being around a playground. I know there are some existing crepe myrtles. I'm not sure, I can't recall the status on those, but I can look at that and get back to you. I just don't have that specific palette in my head, but I know there's some There are some larger trees going in. That's always a challenge to plant large box trees. We hope to get things that are a little bit more fast growing and make sure they have the room to grow.
Is there a reason for that? Because I know that safety concerns is one of them. Also, for maintenance, budgeting, it can, change. For example, like a crepe myrtle will grow 25 feet. In a third-party contractor could potentially do that versus an outside, for example, like West Coast Arborist would charge, let's say, $600 for a crepe myrtle. Well, we can have staff take care of it for, let's say, like in an hour, $25, $50, something like that. Would you agree with those numbers, or am I off?
I'm not sure I understand is there a reason for what,
Yeah.
for which part? I did not understand.
Yeah.
You said there's a reason for that, but I don't understand what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. So is there a reason why we're choosing smaller trees versus larger trees that have been, for example, like the sycamore tree? I know that's a very large tree, grows really well, is a California native, and can outlive all of us. And the crepe myrtle is very small, again, with the carbon sequestration, and then just like all other benefits that come from that. Is there a reason why we're choosing smaller trees?
Let me clarify. I don't know that we're choosing smaller trees. I don't recall what the exact plant palette is. I'm just speaking to the existing trees. There were crepe myrtles already in that location, and I don't know what's happening with those. But I don't know that I can't recall what we've chosen for this project, so I can't speak to that. We're not purposely selecting smaller trees, to my knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was just mentioning that in general, what I'm seeing, observing, but that could be a conversation for another day. I did want to see if you're going to follow up with me via email, or is it going to be for the next meeting about the plant selection?
I'd be happy to follow up with you via email and share that with the rest of the commission if you'd like. I do know that our past city arborists did have a fondness for crepe myrtles. I can't speak to the reasoning, but that may be what you're referring to. Is he was fond of the crepe myrtle.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's not the direction that we're looking at this point. We're looking at larger, faster growing trees, if that answers.
Yeah, that's great news. Thank you. I did have another question. Do you have a list of newly planted trees? And when I say recent, maybe 3 years, the past 3 years, how many trees have you planted? And how many of those don't have water? Like, how many of them are you using a truck to water?
The easy answer is yes, we have a list of both of those. I don't have that before me. We usually produce those numbers within our budget. How many newly planted trees last year? We don't break that down between trees that are planted in irrigated areas versus non-irrigated. Our goal is always to plant trees in areas that already have irrigation, existing irrigation. So that's generally our standard, especially when it comes to, generally speaking, parkway trees. We do have we have a list with all the newly planted trees, and then a separate list of trees that require watering because they don't have an irrigation system.
Okay. Yeah. Is it possible for you to send me that list when you have it available?
Sure.
Yeah. Great. And then also for the tree assessment, canopy assessment, I think that's a great investment. So this is an opportunity to see what districts are being neglected. And I have a very good hinge that District 4 is one of those that is very neglected. There's a lot of factories. There are some studies that show the areas that are more polluted, especially with the factories, everything that goes on. So I would encourage that report to be a little bit more thorough in terms of not just visual, but a list of species of trees in those locations. Because sometimes you have one tree that grows 50 feet wide versus the other one that is about 10 feet wide. So having that in record and just having a better understanding would be helpful, at least for me, it would. Thank you.
Commissioner Ledger, do you have comments or questions? I'm going to start differently, mix it up.
Real quick, for the wildlife management for the Tewinkle Park Lake improvements, are we gonna, while we're doing that, address the ground squirrels at all before somebody gets hurt?
So that was not necessarily a part of the project, but it's part of our maintenance practices. So a little different. With the wildlife management, we're going to be looking at specifically the area around the lakes. I'm sure that just with the regular construction, those ground squirrels are probably going to move out, at least out of the lake area. I know there's a significant problem on the backside where the slope is at the very top of the ponds. That's been there the entirety of my career, and part of the issues again with the public, they love the wildlife there, and they tend to feed the wildlife, which tends to create an overpopulation that becomes a little unmanageable at times. It's just they're providing an unnatural resource of food that wouldn't be there normally, so that kind of exasperates that issue. So, public service announcement: please don't feed the animals.
Commissioner Kamala.
Oh, they're so cute, though. Just one tree question, not quite as intense. I'm like still trying to understand the terminology, so I can't wait to get the download on that. But for the tree canopy survey, pulling up that map that you had in your presentation, I guess what's the overall goal, or where do you see the opportunities that we want to address? Is there like a density issue or over density issue somewhere? What's the kind of overall strategy there?
Well, that'd be spoiling the whole presentation when it comes up.
Okay.
The goal is to assess the existing tree canopy, where we have opportunities to plant trees. It accounts for impervious areas, areas where we can't plant trees. It just shows us where we're at now. So it'll give us a percentage of our tree canopy coverage over the entire city. So it provides us a starting point. We already know where we need to plant trees, where we have some vacant tree sites. It kind of highlights where those opportunities are. But I think most importantly, it gives us that starting point. It lets us know where we have our strengths, where we need to focus on protecting trees that we already have. That's going to be a big part of it. Big part of our existing coverage is protecting what we have in place already. And then where we can plant new trees to help enhance that. So really this will be the starting point that'll hopefully have a little bit of a goal to get to a certain percentage, and we can look at how many years we want to plan that out. And I'm kind of getting ahead and talking about my presentation that's going to come in a couple of months, but and some of that will address that carbon sequestration and some of the benefits of trees. There's some things that tie to health and dollar amounts, and it's really interesting. I think you'll be pleased with the results.
Cool, thank you. I'm looking up carbon sequestration as we speak, so.
I do think something for us to consider is, this values document that the subcommittee has been working on and that we're going to talk about tonight will be close to finalized, hopefully, by the time that we get this tree canopy. And there's no reason that those two documents can't talk to one another. Because what I'm hearing from Commissioner Garcia Arcos is I was intrigued to think about district by district in terms of tree health, which for me touches on issues of equity, perhaps. So just no spoiler here, but this document is meant to be something that interacts with a variety of documents and presentations that we get from you all. So it'll be something to talk about.
Yeah, it won't deal so much with tree health as much, but just the canopy coverage. But it is broken down by district, by census tract, by land use. So it's a lot of information in there.
Great. Yes, nothing. Okay. Did I have a question? No, sorry, I skipped over Vice Chair Wright. I'm so sorry, Vice Chair Wright.
Oh my gosh, how could you? No, you're fine. I'll be quick. Brentwood Park, did we get confirmation from council and we're doing sand over the mulch?
We were still in the combination of sand and mulch.
Oh, okay. And the rubber or no rubber?
Rubber, it's a combination of, so we have the sand for the play area, that we left some sand in there for the kids to play in, as opposed to a designated sand box per se. And we have a combination of mulch and rubberized surface in the rest.
Cool.
So it's pretty much matches the concept that we had shared earlier. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take a moment to mention, I forgot to mention that the city did receive the grant. We did receive an $80,000 grant on the, that should have been on the top of the list, and I apologize for missing that, but.
That's a metric of success that you met, so.
And I skipped right over it, but we did receive $80,000 in grant funding that went towards the major components of the project, which really helped with the budget. That covered, that pretty much covered the rubberized surfacing materials that we're putting down. So that was a huge help.
Awesome. Yay. My next comment is on Shalimar. The crosswalk on West 18th is amazing, and I think it's like perfect timing for the fact that we're gonna have a like local destination park there soon. I lived on that street and I drive on that street to work every day, and so it was totally needed. And I don't know if there's any drama around it, but it's lovely and great job. Also, I did see that you're fixing sidewalks, and those are looking really great too. Just a little comment. The Tewinkle Lakes project, did the scope of that project get scaled back at all? And if so, what part?
It did. We did scale that project back. I did my presentation to council and highlighted all those. I don't have that in front of me, but early on, we did remove the replacement of the pumps in the pump house. We observed that those pumps right now are working fine. There's no issues with them. There's no need to replace at that cost perfectly good working pumps. At the time, the designer was under the impression because we had one shut down to preserve it. We had some issues with the circulation system. There's some cavitation that was causing that in the pump. That causes issues when you have friction in pumps that are metal on metal. So we shut that pump down. They were under the impression that pump was not functioning. So it worked out to remove that. We did remove some of the more aesthetic features on that island in between the two lakes, the little gabion wall, some of the seat benches, some of the walkway, and some landscape improvements that are on the island. Again, mostly aesthetic. Those could be done at a separate time, another project by just a landscaper rather than having a lake professional do those types of things. We removed a alum dispensing system, which is a maintenance thing. It helps take some of those.
I definitely know what that is.
Yeah, it takes some of those solid waste from the ducks and the fish, grabs it and takes it to the bottom and helps with water clarity. There was a automated system that was included in that. That's something that we removed and we can do as a maintenance practice and add that manually. So again, something that wasn't really necessary. It was nice. Probably would have been maintenance a little bit easier, but again, at the cost that it had. And early on, there was an ozone system that was removed that was not necessarily high cost, low return. We expanded the plant spacing, which means we'll have fewer plants planted to start out. That was quite a cost, and we reduced that in half. All of the plants that are selected are plants that will grow quickly and fill in. So we felt that was a fair trade-off to get the project to budget. Trying to do this from memory, and
That's great.
I think those are the major
What
ones.
council meeting was that? I mean, I can just go back and watch your presentation too.
I guess I just could have said that. Go watch this. It was September 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Last week. Nice.
I actually have one quick question, which is about the Fairview Bluff restoration. What should users expect to experience while the bluff restoration is taking place?
I think that's going to be a large project, and I think we're still working through the details on that. Probably no more once that design and construction starts, but I would imagine that there'll be some good notifications out and communication I know that the Fairview Park Administrator does that fairly well, so I don't have that right now.
Okay, thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone in the chambers who would like to make a public comment?
Good evening, Commissioners. Just similar to Chair Brown's comment on the tree canopy and the capital process that the Commission's going through, Mr. Ryan's mentioned the park assessment, and I would think that the capital process that the Commission's going through would also apply to the park assessment, where it would be a collaboration between staff doing their analysis and the Commission using, the value system and the process that you're going through for developing capital. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fatua, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to make a public comment?
No Zoom members at this time, Chair Brown.
Okay. And with that, we conclude monthly reports, and we will move to old business, which is old business number 1, Park Capital Improvements Principle and Values Workshop Update. Director Gruner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is the ongoing development of the CIP Principle and Values Framework project that we started back in April, and we did form the ad hoc committee back in June, and we're at this point in time looking forward to the presentation and what was developed through that ad hoc committee meetings. So I will hand it back to you.
So I thought for this, what we could do is I want to say a word or two about our process and then ask the other 2 commissioners who are part of the subcommittee to say a few words about the research angles that they tackled while we were putting this together. And then I'm going to actually open it up to public comment first in case there is any public comment on this. I know it's already almost 8 o'clock, so I just want to make sure that the public gets heard first on this, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Does that sound okay? So just want to say that, we've been working, Commissioner Ledger, Commissioner Garcia-Arcos, and myself, we've been working for the past couple of months, putting this together, keeping in mind the conversations that we've all had. We had 3 meetings, in-person meetings, and a variety of conversations online. So we were working as collaboratively as possible in a Google Doc. And very much in response to what one another said. We all had research angles that we were pursuing. So I was focused, for example, on community engagement, public outreach, thinking about that value and what that looks like in other cities. Perhaps I'll start with Commissioner Garcia-Arcos. Do you want to talk a little bit about the angle that you took? And then Commissioner Ledger can talk about what she worked on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I just really wanted to emphasize the COSTA MESA redistricting 2021. It had a lot of great information on what things we, or at least I kind of like figured would be a good implementation in the future. For example, like this is the Lions Cafe, so it's opening in a couple of weeks, and then here it's stated that Costa Mesa 2021, so 70% of District 4 has listed as language spoken at home. So why not make the signage in Spanish, like to be welcoming? How can we possibly have the menu in Spanish or different languages too? I'm not opposed to that. I just think that having this information in front of us could encourage us to move in that direction. There is a need for that. And so I just wanted to keep it brief this time around. But yeah, just want to mention that. And I really appreciate being part of that. It was eye-opening, and just hearing the ideas and in the direction of where we're going, it's encouraging. Thank you for that.
I should have started. We actually had fun. I think we had some fun working together. It was a fun process. And just to elaborate a little bit more on what you did, Commissioner Garcia Arcos, I mean, you were looking at demographics and thinking about the impact of that on how we are putting together a value system. And I think that that's a really important, that was and is a really important element for us to consider as we're making bigger picture decisions. So I appreciate that. Commissioner Ledger.
So I looked into comparable cities throughout the country and saw what they had for their mission statement or their values. Some did have similar documents as this. One thing I was looking for is not just ideas, but making sure I looked kind of outside the box. Like I wasn't just pushing what I singularly thought, but could see what other areas might see that I didn't. We did have fun doing it. Learned a lot. And then, yeah, we worked together on the document, went over definitions and everything. So it was really comprehensive.
You'll see, though, that we started off as values and principles, and we actually ended at just values. We weren't actually working on principles. So this is a document that is as stripped down as we could make it while still having a sort of like rhetorical flourish that we felt helped it live a bit. So open to any and all feedback. I want to start with members of the public. So if there is anyone in the chambers who would like to weigh in on this document. Seeing none, is there anyone online?
No one at this time.
Okay, so opening this up for a discussion, we can go commissioner by commissioner. We could go value by value. I don't know how in depth you want to go. I do have questions for the commission, but rather than, I mean, I could start there with questions for the commission that you all can answer, but I think I would, I don't want to speak for I'm going to speak for the subcommittee, and you can say I'm not speaking for you, but I think we would like to hear feedback and get some feedback and decide what makes sense in terms of the process to move this forward. Yes, Commissioner Kamala.
So first off, thank you guys for working on this. I love it. I think you took all of our jumbling of ideas and just put it in a very clear values for us. So appreciate that. I think some notes I have where I feel like the values are super clear and actionable. I love the bullet points. I think there's the tangible values of community engagement and equity, super well chosen. They frame everything up, so I love that. And I love adding the example of Shalimar Park as like a real example. So those are just some things that really stood out. I think, when we look at maybe using more examples like for innovation, if we could maybe add some real pilots that we're working on right now to say, okay, this is what we want innovation to look like to make it more understandable. But other than that, it's just great job. Really appreciate the work.
Are there examples of innovation that you can think of? Well, I think that's a really great suggestion. If you think of something, say something. Okay, cool. Yeah, Commissioner Dorn Parker.
So overall, I ditto what was said. What's amazingly is the clarity. So you have the values, then you have samples of what you as a subcommittee defined those values. And that's really critical because sometimes we hear things, creativity and innovation. That's a really good one to start with. So to me, creativity and innovation is in my educational world that I've lived in for decades. So I look at signage, permanent information. I look at using technology, with solar to be able to have touch screen, like, we have Fairview Park, T-Winkle. We talk about, please don't feed our lovely, beautiful animals. So the innovation to me is how do we demonstrate that instead of just an ugly sign that if you don't come into the park on one way, then you're never going to see it. So that I'll look at some of the things more in details to see what I think of creativity and innovation. The other one is the cross-germination with art. And really, what does that look like? It can't, so art is, yes, everyone knows two-dimensional art, murals, covering things. But is there other types of art that can be connectivity to knowledge and learning? because that's always kind of how I look at things. But overall, you've defined easily, and I know you all did so much individual research, which is important because everybody came with a different perspective and history, and lens is the best way I describe it. And yet you all went to town and came back. So I'm forever grateful that you did the hard work and digging. And I'm glad I really am happy to hear that you enjoyed working on this together. That's the only thing I can think of is when I come out of the innovation, creativity and innovation. That's the only thing I can think of just off the top of my head. But fabulous.
So I hear the suggestion around signage, but like examples, I feel like you're saying more examples around creativity and innovation, and then that cross-germination with art.
Cross-germination with, like we've talked about it, that I think it's in this, I may have the wrong category, but we've already sort of crosswalked. How do we, like at Brentwood, create art? But then how do we make sure that art can innovate with education and bring in our artists in residence? Or, you know, we have these amazing high school art departments or OCC that would love to be innovative with that. Also, by innovative meaning, I'm, you know, an old lady, so I'm thinking of signs as being a sign, but yet I know technology and art can make that very interactive. Because as you all know, because I report every time we go places, I'm always looking at parks, I'm always looking at nature trails and things, and I've noticed a lot of them have been much more beyond the 2D sign that fades.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And subcommittee, if you have questions, please jump in as people are talking. Vice Chair, right? Do you want to weigh in too?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about this process. I feel like we're at a really good place where we can accept this, hopefully, maybe make final tweaks based off of this, accept it. I know Chair Brown and I discussed about presenting this to council to just sort of prepare them that this is now the framework of how we're going to approach our suggestions, get feedback from them because they love giving feedback, and then actually put it to the test. I do like, of course, that we have practical examples, but I feel like just the straight up definitions of each value I align with, I confer with, and I feel that each of us can work off of this when we're actually weighing like a project or a budget or whatever. I really like that Commissioner Garcia Arcos highlights demographics and data for equity. I also like how you guys defined equity as age or housing status, race, language speaking, and I even go back to the open space master plan draft that looked at every little subsector of neighborhoods, and we have demographic data on all the subsect neighborhoods around a park. So I almost view this one as a like how we're implementing things, right? Like, yay, we have Lions Cafe, but how are we going to implement the cafe? We need to address the fact that the majority of the people using that park speak Spanish. You know, that's awesome. So great idea. I'm trying to think. My other thought, the only thing that I would add to the creativity and innovation section are sort of like whatever the equivalent of like mixed use housing is for parks. So like mixing uses in our parks. The cafe is a great example of that. That's something that I think is sort of vital to parks being like third spaces. So I feel like we talked about bathrooms as it's right, that shouldn't be, it shouldn't be innovative, but unfortunately so many parks are missing bathrooms or a place to eat, a place to grab something to drink. That is like common in so many other countries and bigger cities, and I love that Supervisor Foley had that vision for Lions Park. And I'm really excited to see the success of this cafe because I think the idea of recreating in a park means you would also have your basic needs met and be able to eat something and linger for a little longer. So something like that comes to mind. another thing innovation-wise that comes to mind is assessing the transportation of how people are getting to our parks. And that is also in the open space master plan draft. We did an assessment of what is the top method of travel to get to that park. So this won't be surprising, right? Like T-Winkle, most people drive to T-Winkle. I want to maybe even that's true of Lions Park, but then smaller neighborhood parks, people are walking to them. So I want to even think of like a little bit bigger picture, the holistic way people arrive to the park, and are we protecting those walkways or whatever, you know? And I kind of want to go off of what Commissioner Dorn Parker was saying as well, of like, because I'm so fortunate to travel, I've gotten to see how other cities do it. And even if it's something like a pilot program of a pop-up dog park in a East Side park where we're struggling with dogs off leash, like that's what I think of when I think of innovation, is just trying new things with like ideally, you know, low risk, that we think could have a big impact and could possibly meet a need, or even a lot of parks in other cities and countries, they will do a small fence around the playground, contain the children. So I think of things like that, you know, drawing inspiration from other cities, other countries, and how they view parks and recreation is something I'd like to also add to the innovation section. So, but however, we should rebrand like Pavlov's hierarchy of needs, but for our own thing here, in the hierarchy of needs, like I definitely would have put creativity and innovation at the end as well. It's a bonus, you know, it's a dreaming factor. So everything else looks really great. We did it. Good job, guys.
Thank you for that. I want to turn it over to the subcommittee if they want to weigh in. But one thing is, when we were working on this, the creativity and innovation isn't at the bottom. It's just we had to put it in an order to read. So I personally, and you all weigh in too, it's not that it was the least important. The two foundational values are foundational values. And then all of the rest of them, I think that's where interpretation comes in, and we get to decide what's most important as we're making those CIP decisions. So I really appreciate that, and I want to go over your comments, but just to push back, like it's not it definitely wouldn't be at the end for me, but we had to, it had to go in an order. I hear you in terms of mixed uses in our parks, like parks as third spaces, issue of transportation and thinking holistically. These are all great ideas. And then we did talk a lot about innovation as trying new things. I think we could articulate that maybe a little bit clearer in here, and thinking about taking inspiration from other places. So that's what I heard. Okay. Commissioner Garcia Arcos or Commissioner Ledger, do either of you want to weigh in?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over a little bit of sustainability. I think it's really important to also applaud on the ways that we're moving forward, the changes that have been made in the recent past, and also just encourage like ways of improving that. Just leaning on different cities that are like a lot of like what Santana is doing, and their research. It's like, why reinvent the wheel when we can lean on different cities that are alike and, communicate that information and implement it into our city. So I think it's really important to, just lean on others and, move into drought-resistant plants. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you.
Are there questions from city staff?
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair. So I think these values are great. And I appreciate the hard work that the ad hoc committee did. And it sounds like everybody's in consensus that this is kind of, what everybody was looking for and hoping for. And it sounds like that's something that we can certainly approve. I do want to just remind the commission that we do, the next step would be to develop and formulate some type of measuring metric. So how do we utilize this information into a measurable. And I think that's step number 2. So if the commission is ready to, move forward with these, I would encourage a vote that we can, agree that these are the terms and the descriptions that we want to value as we move forward in the CIP evaluation process. But then the second step would be to formulate some type of measuring tool.
I am wondering if we need a measurable. I'm wondering what that looks like and what it achieves for us, because as I understood we were putting this together, this is to guide recommendations that we make to City Council, not even decisions that we make, our recommendations. And so I actually would love to hear from commissioners, is this document something that gives you enough of footing to work with, or do we need to somehow take this and hone it into another document? I'm just wondering, because we're if I were on a grant review process, I would need that. I would need a matrix, right? Because I'm awarding contracts. I need to go through a checklist. I don't feel like that's where we're at. I feel like we're making recommendations, like we're given a CIP list. We're trying to decide which ones are in line with our values. So I guess I'm just curious what it would get us in light of what we're actually doing from this body. So that's the question. Commissioner Dorn-Parker.
I guess this is how I look, knowing that this is our values. And if we agree, generally these are values with some details to be added in, then I do believe, as this is what I thought we were doing, and if I'm wrong and all of you said, oh my gosh, you're nuts, is that as we look at the CIP and we look at, like, for example, the Shalimar, and we see how much of the values is there in the CIP. And then if it's a top project, but it's missing safety and maintenance, then we have the ability for the staff to look and see what value to be able to measure it. And it's not necessarily awarding grants, but it's just so I'm looking to see how much of these values does the CIP. There's already a priority list that the staff provides for us. And so if we have this matrix that do check, 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 because we've defined what it is, we give examples of it. And I see this as a draft roving process that will need to be honed after the first CIP. I see it's an imperfect, and we're trying to start a template that can be usable for a long time to come. Values will change as appointments change and city needs change, but that's what I'm looking at. This is just an awesome way to begin this process to develop a template. So we and the public and then the city council understands these are the values we're looking for. And this project, for example, in Shalimar, have concerns. There's nothing, the safety and maintenance, the way they've designed it, is going to be difficult to implement. And if no one else is seeing that, I'm cool with that, but that's what I was looking at. This is just such an awesome process.
Yeah,
Commissioner Ledger.
So I don't see why we need metrics, like why each part cannot contain this. And when you mentioned Shalimar, that was my very first meeting that we approved that. And they had, if I remember correctly, they had talked with the police department, the park rangers, to design it so that criminals couldn't hide in there for visibility. So that's what I was thinking when when we discussed, when we discussed the safety and maintenance. That's one of the first things I was thinking of. And that's why we say, work with park rangers. So that's just for you was saying safety, but why can't each part contain each of these? I just don't get metrics. I'm sorry.
It sounds like a very complicated process for city staff. How do you create a matrix that doesn't value one over the other? I have a million questions. How can values be checked? How do you prioritize them? Do all values have to be checked off? It certainly moves us into a realm that's a bit more particular versus being holistic and using these as a guiding rubric, if you will, or a guiding sense. So I'm open to that. It sounds quite laborious in terms of actually making sure that these values are represented in a matrix. And maybe it will then become a multi-page document where we're reading the values, and then there's some sort of matrix to go along with it. Commissioner Kamala, it looks like you have a question. That's just what I'm thinking about or wondering.
Yeah, so I mean, I think how we have it laid out, it's very clear and concise, easy to read, and that's what we want. So it's like as we make decisions, as we process that, it's someone who sees us making those decisions understand these are the things that are important to us. I also understand what Director Gruner is saying from, how do we measure that, right? When someone says I'm hot, well, I'm hot to not I'm like hot, but temperature-wise hot. It's different for everybody else. And so I just took some notes of possible metric ideas, like for community-centered planning and engagement. We could look at a metric like the percent of residents reached through each channel, number of community meetings held, demographic diversity. For like equity and access, we could look at number of accessible features installed per park. From another one is like safety and maintenance. This is an easier one where we could look at average time between inspections, safety incidents per year per facilities. So I think that's a way where, to Director Gruner's point, we can quantify it. So we don't just say like, the temperature is hot. I'll say it that way this time. So
that would be amazing. That requires quite a bit of staff compilation and analysis. So if city staff is willing to kind of go, because that's a very particular kind of evaluation that will be quite intense for city staff. I'm game for something like that. That actually gives a very holistic picture and positions us to really make detailed decisions, but that'll be a heavy lift for city staff.
Yeah, I mean, it would be certainly an undertaking. It's something that we'd have to evaluate and kind of see exactly, how much time that would take to develop something like that. Hopefully we can get, we can draft something together and bring something back at the next meeting. But again, this is a working document that's going to be ongoing in development. It's not something that's a one and done. So it is something that, we can work on and we can utilize as we move forward as we're coming up in the CIP process in November, December timeframe, January, and we can start utilizing this information and continue to working on developing some type of measuring metric that would be acceptable to the commission, and then we can start implementing that as we go on throughout the process.
Commissioner Kamala, will you share those questions with staff? Because that level of analysis per value, per project would be fantastic. I love it. Other thoughts or comments down this way? Vice Chair Wright.
Yes, so I feel that, just due to the advisory nature of our commission, I think it's appropriate to say, like, we don't want to greenlight some too labor-intensive required metric curriculum. What I like about this is it's a leveled playing field that we're all agreeing to is important, but I think let's just, or what my opinion is per project that we are giving our advice on, let's try to be conservative in where we think the metrics would be the most useful in clearing up any gray areas. Other values might be loud and clear, like, yep, this is a safety issue, or yep, this is an equity issue. But if we feel that, we're needing a little bit more of this value to be emphasized or clarified, then maybe that's where the metrics would be most relevant and worthy of your guys' time.
Commissioner Dorn Parker, do you want to say something?
Yeah, if I heard I'm talking about process now, so do you need this to be on an action item, or is consensus enough for staff? What do you as the director need to move forward?
Well, I think we need to just have the commission take a vote and make sure, on these values. I think that's the first step. And then after
that way you have something that's to work with, to go back to. And because it's on the agenda right now, it's an actionable item, correct?
It's actionable, yes.
Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion? Commissioner Darn Parker.
I would love to make a motion to accept the values, the draft values as is.
Can we, I'd like to, there are some small edits based upon feedback. I'd like to add those.
So I will make a motion that we accept it as written with additional edits as was discussed tonight. Okay. Oops. I can make a motion. Hang on. Okay.
You may vote on your dais. Motion carries 6-0.
There is no new business. And unless there are additional commission member and staff comments, I would like to adjourn this meeting at 8:27 p.m. And thank you all.